Hi, Arjun. Thank you for joining in today's interview session. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So before we proceed, can you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yes, sure. My name is Richanshu Shekhar. I basically belongs to Bihar, and right now I'm residing in Ghaziabad. I'm working with Onward Technologies right now, and I have 3.8 years of experience with 3.4 years of experience, relevant experience in Tableau and SQL. And also working with some other tools also. So yes, obviously, that's it.
Okay. So if you can talk about the projects that you have done so far with your organization.
So I have done some sales and production projects, and then with FMCG clients in helicoid point technology, and and some insurance dashboards also I created with the insurance clients for the Middle East, East Asia, Asia, and Africa region. And I was also working with Africa, Asia, and Northern Asia and Africa and in India region for the FMCG client. I work for them. I have created almost 12 to 14 of the top big dashboards and 5 or 6 small dashboards with these clients. The prior client was the FMCG client, that was Unilever. That prior client was that. Then and I started working on with Onward technology from November 22nd, 2021, 22nd November 2021, and I started working there with the client ZS, which has an external client Gilead Science Pharma, where I was deployed with the project report Gilead report rationalization, where we were the project had kicked off, and we worked up like 1 month or so on that project, and that because of the data discrepancy from the client side, that project was on hold. Then I was deployed to another project, HIV PrEP. That was a HIV PrEP medicine sales project. Actually, the HIV PrEP is one of the prominent medicine in the Gilead Science Pharma. So that was its patent, and now it is generic, but it was patent at with some time, because the formula was first developed by the Gilead Science Pharma. Then I was working on that. There I was basically at the beginning I was given the role to update PPTs, which I actually it was not my domain, but I waited for that so that I can get some work on Tableau or SQL. Then after 1 or 1.5 months, again I got the opportunity to work with AWS Athena and Alteryx over there to rewire the queries which were on the Teradata. The queries were coming from Teradata, which we have to rewire on AWS Athena. So we were rewiring it through AWS Athena and Alteryx. Doing the ETL and then creating the hyper files or the Excel files, and then queuing the data and recreating the dashboard that were created before. So this was my roles and responsibility in this and the ZS.
Right. So if I have to ask you that, what are the 3 points do you think that as a data engineer that should be present in any data engineer, or you might possess, that you want to bring to my notice that will make this hiring process easier?
So data engineer means I didn't
Means
understand.
for your role as a data analyst, you're working at the moment, right?
Right.
So if I have to ask you 3 points
Right.
or 3 features that you think that all data analysts should have, or you have, that you want to bring to my notice that will make this hiring process easier for me.
So basically, I'm confident and good on Tableau. So I
Hmm.
can work on Tableau. I didn't have done some good ETL, so I didn't have done ETL through SQL too much. But yes, as my roles and responsibilities, I was sitting with the ETL team and the admin teams with the clients also, so that I can get the data, required data, and whatever the requirement for the client to create a dashboard. So basically I was creating dashboards, so I am feeling pretty much confident with that dashboards and creating dashboards. And obviously SQL, yes, I am not that confident with that. Yes, I didn't have done the ETL part.
So you are not mentioning the 3 points that I asked you. Instead, you are focusing on the areas that you are not good at, like you are not good at ETLs, you're not good at SQL. So it's fine. So what is that one weakness that you might be working on at the moment that you might have?
Maybe the confidence on SQL.
The confidence on SQL, right? Okay. So can you, since you mentioned that you have got more than 3 years of experience, can you talk about a time where you displayed your leadership skills?
No, actually, I was not leading the team anywhere. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
I have helped the teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't lead any team or anybody or any group in my company, because my company was not that big at the point. Heliquid point was not that big,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a startup. It was a service-based startup, so we were only 14 members team,
Mm-hmm.
including our manager. So
Mm-hmm.
at that time, I was not leading, but yes, I was supporting. I was on the support role. I was independently working on the dashboards. I was given that independence that you can create the dashboard, you can think about that, and then you can take the advice how to create that. If I'm wrong where somewhere, or I'm not doing it right, so I can take the advice, and then I'm stuck somewhere, then I will I like somewhere I am not able to create the logic over there. So I was able to do this, but I didn't have led any team for now, till now.
Okay. So was there any time wherein you were not happy with your performance or not satisfied with your performance, and how and what did you do to ensure that your performance improves, or you might have done some changes with the way of work that you do?
Yes, I was mostly when I was unsatisfied with my logical skills, that I can't create the logic at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes what happen, if you have some urgent requirement, like
Mm-hmm.
you have to create a dashboard in a week and then deploy to it is a quite urgent requirement for the client. So at that moment, somebody like me who has more experience, so I have to be on the top of that, and I have to create that dashboard with the help. So yes, I get frustrated when I am not able to use the logic, or sometimes it happens that yes, the requirement of the client is I have put myself my efforts, that yes, I have created some good charts for say, and client was asking, yeah, we don't want, client didn't give me the requirement, and they asked me to create a dashboard. I created a dashboard before, as the client was before the same client I have deployed. And then the client asked me that no, this is not the requirement. We want in cross tab, because we just wanted to QC it, and we wanted to see it. Even you have to do the QC, and then create the dashboard, do the QC, and give the reports only. So the dashboard is not required. So that makes me some that was one of the frustrations that I faced during.
So how did you overcome it?
Uh, Simply, we have to listen to client, means the first thing I always used to do whenever I was creating a dashboard, what I did, I generally connected to the one of the members, who one of the members from the stakeholder side, or not the POCs, one of the senior members from the
Mm-hmm.
client side. I regularly connected to them in 2 days or 3 days of in 4 days, or in a week, that this is what I have created. You have to check it. Is it okay or not? If they said yes, it is okay, you can go with that, then I go with that. Or otherwise, some changes, whatever the changes they wanted. They asked me, and I have done the changes also. And with the logic, and sometimes not able to create some the things, so I'll generally used to go to my seniors, my colleagues, and wanted to ask them what should be there, because asking is very good. If I ask something to somebody, it helps. And they suggested me, you can do this, because they are working on this tools, more faster, more years of experience. So they asked me, I asked them, and they suggested me, you can do this and you can do this. So at that time, I rectified my mistakes. I try to find my mistake, I rectified it, and then I changed the requirements and done the dashboards.
Great. So how do you basically get the workflow come to you? Means what type of methodologies that you are following at the moment in your current organization? Is it waterfall or agile?
It's I don't think it's agile or maybe waterfall, because current organization, I am not sitting with client anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
I am not in I was like, I don't know, is the current because of my as per experience, even then I was not given any opportunity to sit with client. I was just stuck with 3 4 team members in ZS Associates, actually. This is pretty, and this is pretty much frustrating for me also. But yes, in helicoid point, the my process to create a start a project or so create a dashboard was like I was directly talking to client or POCs that or the important persons in the client side, that what kind of requirement you do need. I exactly know the name, what is agile and what is workflow. I don't know. I can't explain the definition. And but yes, the way I can do, I used to do what I am telling. I directly go to the client, take the requirement, then discuss about the data with the admin or ETL team, and then if I get everything, then I start working on them. And constantly, one thing I learned, that I have to constantly connect with POC and a stakeholder, or maybe some senior person, so that if I am connecting to POC, sometimes that POC doesn't have the requirement, also they don't know the correct requirement. So the stakeholder or some person who is responsible for that dashboard, who is going to present that dashboard to their stakeholders, that must be contacted in between. So basically the layout of my workflow or work was that, yes, I go to the stakeholder, take the requirement, then connected to the POCs or admin team or ETL team to get the data. Whatever
Mhm.
my requirement is, that because I was not getting 100% of the access to the data, I was only getting views. So after in those views or those tables, then or maybe Excel files, most times I get the extracted data or Excel files, and then create that report. And then in between creating the reports, in between I used to go to obviously to POCs and mostly the main member, one of the main members, so that I can show the progress of the report. And if it is correct, then obviously we can go I used to move forward.
So what will you do in a situation if the priorities of the project changes suddenly? How will you handle such situation if it happens?
So definitely it hasn't happened to me yet, but if it happens,
Mhm.
definitely we have to stop the work, whatever the requirement is. If some data is missing or something means like client asked me to create a dashboard, and then he said no, this is not a requirement. So
Mhm.
obviously we have to work again. I have to work again. I have to put the efforts again. I'll go to the client and ask them what is the requirement. Obviously we have to ask that, and then we have to work on that. So I think definitely it will be, because the client, we are as a solution based company or a service based company, whatever the client is requirement is, we have to fulfill that. So I'll try to put my efforts on that.
Right. So coming to Tableau, how confident are you with the skill set? If I
I
have to
can
ask you
say
to rate yourself out of 5, how much will you rate yourself?
I'm out of 5, somewhere around 3.5 to 3.5 to 4.
3.5 to 4. Okay, what is the current version of Tableau you are using?
So 2021.4 was the version, and it's just latest updated as 2022.1 2.1.
So do you know what are the differences that
No,
we have?
no, I didn't have been through that. So I didn't see the differences.
You have not
I
checked
didn't
the
have, no,
difference.
yes, I didn't have checked.
So what is the most important feature that you are using at the moment quite often in your projects, and how it has helped you?
Most important features for Tableau.
Right.
Obviously, the connecting means obviously creating a hyper file or having a hyper file, and then creating a dashboard
Mm-hmm.
on top of that. Creating a dashboard means the amount of data means, if you have, so for say 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs of row, and
Mm-hmm.
that data, I can easily show that data to client with the help of graphs. So creating some good graphs, or even in cross tabs, it is easy. Then we can also check the discrepancies, what are the flows, and what are the pros and cons in this, and the data, or whatever the story is telling, the data is story is telling me. So creating good insights, and also the feature of the Tableau, one of the feature of the Tableau looks pretty good. Means obviously it is a good looking tool also, and we can create good insight out of it. Means it is only not good looking, is it is as efficient as it is good looking. So it helps us, I this person like us, a developer like us, it helps us a lot.
Right. So earlier we used to have the concept of joins, and now Tableau has introduced the concept of relationships.
Right.
So do you know why this concept has been introduced and how it is actually helping the developers?
Yes, the relationships actually, what we have to, we don't have to assign anything. And if we have relationships, in relationships, you can say they are much easier to connect. They are like, and one more feature is that we can see the different, if we are joining, or we can relating three tables like people's, orders, and returns. So we can see
Mhm.
the data with that, and we have all the data in three different tables. When we three different tables and three different parts, when we go to the Tableau pane, in the sheet pane, and we can see all these things in joins. Yes, obviously it was like joins were if you do the joins, you can say joins are more sophisticated, you can say more sophisticated than relationships also. And relationships are more sort of, I'm not actually exactly able to
Mhm.
demonstrate you, or able to make you understand. But yes, you can say relationships are not that sophisticated than joins.
So you mean to say if joins are more sophisticated than relationships, then why the relationships has been introduced then? Means if something is already superior, which is available with Tableau, then why something inferior will Tableau introduce and
I
asks
don't think
people to use?
I don't think relationships are inferior. Means
You are telling, right? Joins are superior. Joins are sophisticated.
sophisticated in the sense that it is
And what is the main difference between these two? I'm not able to get that from your answer. Means why do you means my question was why do you think Tableau introduced relationships and how it has actually helped? If you're not aware, it's fine. We can move on to the next question. So as you are also mentioning that have you used joins in your projects?
yes.
Okay. So do you know how many number of tables we can join in Tableau?
Yes, like 32.
Right. 32 is the total number of tables that we can connect in Tableau. So I guess you have used filters as well in your projects. So can you explain the flow of filter?
The order of operation you are
Yeah,
asking.
yeah.
Yes, so it is data source filter on the top, then extract filter, then context filter, dimension filter, measure filter, and last is the table filter. I don't remember, in between there is one more filter which I don't remember.
So do you think data source filter is on the top or the extract?
No, data source filter is
Are you sure?
yeah.
Okay. So what is the difference between extract filter and data source filter?
Data source filter, the filter that will be created on data source itself,
Mhm.
in the data source, it will be and then things are coming to the means connecting to dashboards or something like connecting to the data, then it will be the data source filter. And extract filters are like we are creating extract and we are using filter over there also. So that should be the extract filter, or
No,
uh,
actually extract filter is on the top,
top on the
right? Not the data source filter, because once we put the filters in the extract level, then the database repository will be created. And once the database repository is created, you can put the data source filter. Because when you put the data source filter, it will be in the worksheet level. All the
Hmm,
worksheets will work
exactly.
according to the data source filter.
Yes.
But to create the repository, first comes the extract filter, and then the flow of filter starts with the data source filter. Anyways, not a problem. So what is context filter and how is it different from normal filters?
So context filter is context filter when we create a context filter.
Mhm.
So what happens? The other any other filter will go through it. Will be like you can say filtered through it, and then it will work. Means the context filter. What context filter do? It creates a temporary table in the Tableau,
Mhm.
and any other filter with that passes through it and check down that, and then the it will applied. It will be applied.
And in case of normal filters, how it works in the backend?
The normal filters.
Mhm.
Means normal filters are working independently. For say we have some we have taken two filters, so they will work independently according to their what the whatever the filters are taken and whatever the selections are done.
Okay. So, right. So as you are mentioning that means when you are using context filter, the
Mhm.
normal filter become dependent on the context filter, right? So the second filter that I'm using.
Yes.
So what is the difference between a data source filter? Because data source filters also does the same thing, right? It creates a filter at first, right?
Mm.
So what is the difference between context and data source filter if both are doing the same job?
I don't-
Okay, not a problem. So have you used the concept of parameters in any of your project? Okay, I'll not ask you what is a parameter, but I'll ask you what is the limitation of a parameter that we have.
A limitation of parameters. I don't remember it actually.
Mhm, mhm.
I
It's
I
fine. It's absolutely fine. Not a
I
problem.
don't remember because I didn't have been through that much of the limitations, because I have used it and it was very helpful to me at most of the time. So I didn't have taken care of the limitations. I don't
Right.
remember it actually.
So I guess if you are a keen observer, you can check it when uh, means there is a slight difference between filters and parameters at the visualization level. I'll ask you to go through it and then you will find it out. It's an interesting limitation that we have, and that is the limitation that we have in Tableau as of now. So, anyways, can you explain the difference between tree and heat maps if you have used?
Yes, tree and heat maps are both heat maps. We can with the in the heat map we can show the visualization is shown on the on size and the color
Mm-hmm,
of the, but heat maps are not the hierarchical data. We
mm-hmm,
cannot see the show the hierarchy
mm-hmm.
in the heat map. Whether in the tree map we can show we will show we can show the different kind of hierarchy in tree maps. This is the main difference in between heat map and tree map. It is more easier to show some data in tree map then rather than heat map, if it is it contains some hierarchy or something like in the order that 1 2 3 like that order.
Right. What is the difference between groups and sets?
So groups and sets, groups are we can use we groups are cannot say the definition, but I can say groups are something which are means they are not actually dynamic first of all. Means if we use groups, then we cannot use them dynamically. Whether sets can be used dynamically, then
What
sets
do you
are
mean by dynamic? Means in
means
what context?
something like in my work when I use created a group group, and then if I some member is added or some member is subtracted, it will not change any difference. It will not make difference. The group will be the same. But whether in sets we have added something then or subtracting something, then it will change automatically.
Then why to use groups? Means sets could have been the solution, only solution. Why groups are there?
But
Means if sets are doing such a powerful job, then why
every
do you
time we
think?
cannot use sets. Every time it is not.
I want to know the scenario, right? That is the reason I asked the question, the difference between groups and sets. Okay, not a problem. Uh, so as you mentioned that you have created 14 major dashboards for your project, right?
Right.
So while creation of dashboards, the most important part is to optimize the performance of dashboards, right?
Right.
That is the most challenging situation in Tableaus that we have, right?
Mhm.
So what do you think are the best practices to ensure that the dashboards are performing well, or in means, even if I have to consider the visualization part,
Mhm.
what are the 3 points that you keep in your mind when you create a dashboard?
So means, are you asking the key points to create a dashboard or
As a
to?
developer, what do you think that these are the best practices that anyone should follow? Or if you are selected in today's interview, you will train someone that these are the three things that I have learned through my experiences that you need to keep in mind while creating a dashboard.
So first of all, if it is not that much of requirement or it is not that much of necessary, I will not use the live data.
Mm-hmm,
I'll try to use the extracted data, which most of the times I used to do, or I have to created some major dashboards on extracted data.
mm-hmm,
And then obviously, uh, first and the foremost important thing, then I will try to use, because we are using extracted data, so obviously it will be more optimized than the live data. And after that it might be a after that it might be a big dashboard also. It might be a big data, so we can also use, now we will try to use as less as we can use the filters. Means we don't want to I don't want to use too much of the filters. And mostly, if I the client's requirement is as per as per the client requirement, or if I am set free to do, I will use not that complicated charts, not that I can use the as simple charts as, so that we can create a visualization and we can easily show this the client that yes, and that can generate a good insight with the like not the fancy charts, not that fancy charts, required charts, or mainly maybe the bar graphs or the pie chart. Definitely I can go with that. So, and the last point I would say, yes, I will the filters, mostly the filters, I will try to, use more action filters if on the dashboard label. More if I have to use to I have to give to the controls to the like the client, I have to use parameters. But mostly I will try to use action filters that can be done on the sheet labels also and worksheet level also, so it will
mm-hmm.
help to do anything, any check or anything, or any report will be created good on the and on those. And I will keep these 3 points in mind basically.
Okay. So, right. Fine. So if I have to use a cascading filter in any of my project, can you mention how you uh, how you obtain the functionality of a cascading filter?
No, I can't.
Okay, it's fine. Can you tell me the steps to create a donut chart?
Yes. mm, uh, Donut chart means two measures will be selected. With one, I will select two measure. One measures will I will select, and then I will copy it and sum or average. I will on the I will edit that on the column, or if you say put the two those two sum of sales on column, and then I will create a average of the sum of sales in the same column. And then I will do it as dual axis, select it as a dual axis, and then put the category on the, and yes, from the the automatic here I will select pi, and then one of the filter one of the after dual axis we done the dual axis. So one of the chart will increase the size and decrease the size accordingly, and then we'll put the color and the category. Means I'm not able to explain it properly, but I know
Right.
I can create it. Yes, I have
Okay.
created it many times, so I know. So this was the process. Means you, the main thing to create that is to create an average or sum. A pill. Main thing is to create an average or sum, and then doing the dual axis with synchronizing of the axis.
Okay, coming to dual axis, what is dual axis?
The chart, the dual axis chart.
Yeah, it is a chart, but what
Yes,
is
yes,
dual
yes, yes, yes,
axis?
yes. I know this. Yes, yes. I'm trying to remember the exact definition because most
No,
of the time.
definition is not real. See, you are a developer. You do not have to search definitions and mug up the definitions and tell me. You can talk about your experience. You have created dual axis. So why
Yes.
have you used dual axis? That is the reason. If you
So
have used
if
dual axis, you know the definition of it.
yes, yes, yes. I for say for my project, I was showing profit and sale.
Mhm.
So one measure I will show like sales I will or profit I will show with bar graph,
Mhm.
and then I can do the sales with the help of or we can show the profit with the help of dual axis in a line, so
Mhm.
that it looks good, it is visualizingly good, and the points at the point it will show, it will do the comparison between the two measures exactly, that we can see the comparisons in single sheet at that
Right.
uh,
So here is the definition. So as you mentioned, two measures. So if you have to put two measures in a single chart, you'll have to use dual axis. In a single axis, then you'll have to use a dual axis. That is the definition of dual axis. So yes, it's fine. So have you done forecasting in Tableau?
yes.
Means how do you do it? What are your practices in your projects?
Basically, if like 2 quarters of the sales was there
Hmm.
and 2 quarters of the profit was there in the as I am mentioning the quarter, so there must be a like time series graph also. There must be we have to create a time series graph, and then in the analytics tab we have the forecasting option. We can
Hmm.
do the forecasting, we can go with the forecasting. So I have done the forecasting in that way only.
So you have done forecasting using the analytics tab.
Analytics tab. Yes, sir.
Do you know the backend of forecasting? What Tableau does at the backend? What is the calculation?
Yes, I know, but I didn't remember, and exactly I didn't have understood and didn't have tried to understood what is the process actually.
No, actually, sometimes what happens, we do not have enough data to forecast, right?
Yes, right.
Suppose 1 or 2 years data we have, but
Mhm.
that is not enough to create a forecast.
Right.
Suppose there is a requirement wherein it's a new organization, they are doing sales for since last 2 years, and they have come to us asking that what can be my forecast for the next 3 years or 2 years. So then that calculation will actually come in handy. If you are aware of how forecasting is done, then it will become easier for you to make the calculations proper instead of going into analytics and using the forecast. That's a very good feature, but it's a good to know knowledge as well. What can be done to ensure forecasting? I'll ask you, means I'll advise you to go through how the forecasting is done. Okay. Anyways, have you used the concept of LODs?
Yes.
What are LODs?
So LOD stands level of detail, means we can say if we want a focused analysis of a data in more granular, less granular, or fixed granular level, we can use
Mhm.
LODs. Probably you can say this could be the definition, but LODs can be used way more than the only this that way beyond the definition actually. So it is LODs are basically level of detail. If we means if we are using one level of detail, like we are using category and sales, that is one level of detail also. And then we are again using the category with subcategory and manufacturer and products. The granularity, the level of granularity is getting increased. Or these if so the level of detailing is getting increased every time when we are adding something or we are subtracting something. So basically, we can.
So, where have you used it in your project? Means, can you talk about LODs in your project where you have used, and how have you used that?
So like there are these three include LODs. Basically, most of the times I was using with a map. So there was a map where we have to show the sales, sometimes the profit, sometimes like the what products are being used in that which region, like mostly the products used. So sometimes reasons were not required, or sometimes that category or that product we in the my project is was that project. So the product was not required only, that category or that category of the product is not required, but the sales is required. So we can do, we have used I have used fixed LODs with that we will fix the reason at that time. So the reason will remain same, the changes will only show with the sales and the profit, if we want to do that, or in the category or the subcategory.
Okay, coming to SQL, how good are your knowledge in SQL? But you have already mentioned you have not worked on SQL, means thorough
Yes,
SQL, right?
yes.
So, okay, I'll ask you some elementary questions of SQL. So, what do you think is the difference between a primary and a foreign key?
So primary key is obviously a key that is when the primary key comes. Primary key is a key that is the that is, yes. Primary key is basically a key which is on the parent table,
Mhm.
and the reference is given through the foreign key. That the identification of primary key is given to the if in the two tables, if one is primary key and another is foreign key. So the primary key is identified with the help of the reference of the foreign key. And primary key, I exactly don't know the definition. I'm telling yes, I'm not good at definition, so I can't. I'm not. I know the things. I know how it works, but I am not able to explain it exactly.
If you know how it works, then automatically you should know the thing as well to explain, right? Otherwise, it becomes difficult for the hiring team as well to understand your
Yes.
knowledge. I know, but I can't tell. So that is a vague answer, right?
Yeah, right.
So, anyways, do you know the different types of constraints that we have in SQL?
Yes, there are like how many I remember. Check constraint is there, unique constraint is there,
Mhm.
primary key constraint is there, foreign key constraint is there. Uh, I don't remember.
Okay, I'll not get into it. Otherwise, I would have asked you the question, what are those? Can you give the main difference between and in operators?
Yes, between operators is the we use between operator where the range is we have to find somewhere something in between the range, and in operator we have to find exactly in that. Miss, okay, maybe.
Okay, not a problem. So, my final question will be, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years of time?
Maybe I can't say the exact post that I want to be in, but yes, I want to be in a position where I should be helping the team, the team and this the company pretty well with my experience and expertise. And obviously, I want to be in a position where I can keep learning and keep growing. And if you ask me what kind of position do you want to stay in after 5 years, so obviously in 5 years of experience I might be in somewhere in manager or project manager kind of thing. I would like to
So,
see
what
myself.
is your goal to be? Means the
My
main idea of this question
definitely
is to
definitely if I want to be I want to be a CEO in 5 years somewhere.
CEO in 5 years.
Yes, if I
That
have to
that
be. Yeah.
that's a great dream.
But
But yes, definitely you can achieve it with hard work and perseverance for
yes,
sure.
but I am sure I need to work on those things, because I need to work something to becoming a CEO is not that easy, and it's not that tough also, but it's not that easy also. So I have to keep learning consistently and know the things, and then my cat could be on the same that position.
That's awesome. So, with this, we come to the end of today's interview. Do you have
Mhm.
any question?
No, I don't have.
Okay, so we'll meet very soon once again with the feedbacks and everything. Okay, and wish you the best.